Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel. I have a very special guest with me, John Deaton, who's an attorney, owns his own law firm, also the founder of CryptoLaw.us. John, great to have you on the show.
Tony, thank you so much for having me. I've been a fan of yours and the content that you're putting out for the community. Appreciate it.
And of course, John, I want to say a huge thank you on behalf of the rest of the XRP holders for, the work you've been doing to help us out and fight the good fight here. But let's start with your background. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Well, I'm from Detroit, Michigan. And when I say Detroit, I don't mean Southfield or Bloomfield Hills. I mean, I'm from a place called Highland Park, Detroit, Michigan. If you look it up, very impoverished town. Grew up with a mom, a single mother. She had 5 of us at the time, welfare, food stamps. That's my background. So it's not the glorious background, but I wouldn't change it because it makes me who I am today.
Sure. And what made you decide to get into law?
Well, when I was in college, I tried out for like a forensic debating team, and you would go around and you give persuasive speeches or impromptu speeches. And I did well for like at the national championships. And so a professor just said, "Hey, you'd make a really good trial lawyer if you like to argue." And I don't have a confidence problem usually. I don't mind getting in front of people and speaking, and I do like to argue. And so that sort of got me where I was going. When I was in law school, I decided I didn't want to go into a big firm and sit in a library and research and write for some senior partner and give up my life. I wanted immediate trial experience. I wanted to do cases immediately in front of juries. And so I decided to go in the military. And there's really only one branch that fits my personality. My brother was in the Air Force, but for me, it would be the Marine Corps just because of their sort of mentality. For example, whether you're a lawyer or a pilot or an infantryman, you still have to go through the same training. You've got to go through the 6 months of what's called the basic school and war college and combat training. And you're considered a rifleman first in the Marine Corps. And that sort of attracted me. They didn't have just like this JAG Corps like the Navy and Air Force and Army. Nothing against those other branches, but
sure,
to simplify, Marine till I die. So I did that. Unfortunately, I got injured my back. And so my days of hiking 40 to 80 pounds on my back, hiking, humping 20 miles were gone. And so I got medically retired from the Marine Corps. At that time, had my wife at the time was pregnant with my second daughter. And so it was like, okay, now I got to get out of debt. So went to a law firm who was specialized in asbestos litigation, representing people who are dying from mesothelioma, which is a rare form of cancer caused by asbestos. Did that for 4 years and then went on my own and been doing that ever since.
Wow. Well, first, thank you for your service and pretty interesting journey. I'm a bit familiar with the mesothelioma industry because in my day job, I know the keywords that we bid on Google for, that's one of the highest.
I learned that a long time ago, the firm I was working for, at one point, mesothelioma was the most expensive click word. It was like going for like something crazy, like $60, $70 back then a click. And that was crazy. You know what I mean? So you understand, and you see all the commercials of the lawyers who would do it. So they're high-end valuable cases, unfortunately, because they're not minor. These are people who lose their life. So they're wrongful death cases. And sometimes it could be someone, I've had a client as young as 50 years old, and has a huge economic loss. And so it's coincidental that you know that pretty well.
Yeah. So tell us about crypto-law.us or crypto law. What made you decide to start?
Well, to be honest with you, a lot has to do with the tribalism and the lawsuit that the SEC did. I've been saying for a while now, obviously since January 1st, that this lawsuit that the SEC is engaged in with Ripple, that it impacts the entire crypto community.
Yep.
And I've used words like divide and conquer. And everyone, just because you have the tribalism. So if someone thinks that XRP is, the banker's coin or a shit coin or whatever they're going to call it, then they're not worried about it, right? Because that's not their Bitcoin or their Ethereum or their Cardano or whatever they're into. And there just seems to be more. There's no lobbying going on. Ripple was coincidentally the highest, paid the most, I should say, in lobbying the last couple of years, followed by Coinbase. But there's no community of, hey, we need to get together as an industry, even if we're competitors. We still, want the community and the industry to flourish. Yeah. And there just seemed to be a need. So I started Crypto Law to try to, a lot's obviously focused on the Ripple case because that's the hottest legal topic in the crypto world today. But it's not meant to be XRP, only. It's meant to try to be a forum where people can gather. I'm hoping later to put maybe some kind of speaking engagements where we get people and leaders together. And I have this belief that the market should decide the winners and the losers. Right. Not the government, not the Securities Exchange Commission, not the CFTC, but the market, and let the best technology win. And if Bitcoin is the best store of value ever in the history of man, then, and digital gold, great. If it's XRP or some other, or XLM or some other one that becomes the best payments technology, so be it. But it should be a fair field. And so that's why it was started, to try to bring it. I'm like an island right now, and I'm trying, you see me tweeting with Jesse Powell, the CEO of Kraken, and I'm encouraging JP at Uphold to maybe get his lawyers involved and trying to help, be involved in this case, and we all come together. But, that's the motivation behind it.
Sure. And I think it's so needed because there isn't anyone leading the charge from this front, as far as I would say the legal aspect, right? And you're creating this platform, this hub of information. And to your point, I often get the comments too, hey, why are you talking so much about the Ripple SEC situation? Well, it's going to impact the rest of the crypto market. All other 3,000, 4,000 projects, whatever it is, they're going to go after the rest of them based on how this thing comes out. And I don't think people recognize that. They're just so blinded by the maximalism, tribalism, not realizing, hey, you hold Cardano, you hold Chainlink, whatever it is, they're going to go after that too.
Yeah. And you're 100% on point, Tony. I can make an argument that even Bitcoin started off as a security. Now, and I own Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin, but people will attack me for saying that. But it's true, because at one point when you only have a couple miners and you had the Bitcoin Foundation, you had a small group of people, right? That's a common enterprise, or it could be classified a common enterprise. And if I invest my money and I'm just an investor in that common enterprise, and then I'm expecting obviously to make a profit, and I'm relying completely on those miners or that organization to achieve that profit, well, that meets the definition of Howey, doesn't it? And so there's no doubt in my mind, I'm with you 100%, brother, that if the SEC is successful in doing what they want to do against XRP, everybody get in line, because you're getting visited by the US government.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to go down the market cap list for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So before we talk about the Ripple SEC lawsuit situation in XRP, what was your first encounter with crypto or Bitcoin, and what are you holding in your crypto portfolio?
Oh, great question. Now, I got involved. I think it was around. I'm late to the game, like 2016. I wish I could tell you that. I bought Bitcoin in 2014 or 13. I didn't, but in 2016, I actually assigned my daughters. They were in high school. One was a senior and one was a freshman. And I made them debate to research Bitcoin and give me the pros and cons of whether or not I should invest in it. But I read about it. I read the white paper. I went down that rabbit hole. And conceptually, I grew up very poor. I already told you, food stamps, welfare, single mom. And one of the most critical issues facing the world today is the wealth gap. I'm fortunate now, I'm no longer poor. I've done well for myself and for my family, but the disparity between the haves and the have-nots. Cryptocurrency conceptually where, as long as you have a smartphone, right? You could be in Zimbabwe and you could be making straw hats and you could find a purchaser and you don't need a bank, right? You don't need a middleman. And it's true capitalism to me, where you lift everyone can participate in a market or an economy. And so the idea of helping the unbanked and the underbanked, it just conceptually, as someone with my past, was so attractive to me. And obviously I want to benefit from it, and so I own Bitcoin. I've owned it since at least 2016. I own XRP, I own Ethereum. Right now, I have a little bit of XLM, I have some Avi, a little bit of Filecoin. Primarily, my most biggest investment is Amazon stock and Bitcoin. And then the second one would probably be Ethereum and XRP are pretty much tied. You know what I mean? And so I dabble with a little bit. In the beginning, I traded with the other names. I don't trade Bitcoin, to be honest, but I would trade stocks and then I would buy more Bitcoin, right? And so I know that there's some XRP people that follow me and I love them, and they're probably disappointed because maybe they don't like Bitcoin so much, but I'm not saying it's the payments technology, right?
Right.
I'm not. And I do believe that it's going to rise. This isn't financial advice, right? Or anything like that. But I'm a huge proponent of the space. And so I think I told you what I own. I may own one or two that I can't think of off the top of my head, but my primary would be the top three. It was Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP were my top holdings.
Got it. Well, you diversify, and I'm in the same boat. I'm diversified, holding Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and others as well. So let's talk about the topic at hand, which is the SEC and their lawsuit against Ripple. So many things have been revealed over the past couple of months, I would say, and part of it is from the work you've done in filing, I'm not mistaken, a lawsuit on behalf of the XRP holders. Can you tell us about that and what prompted you to go ahead and do that?
Well, what prompted me was this. I was an XRP holder, like I said, for a long time. And when I saw the lawsuit, I believe it was Christmas Eve, where I actually had printed out the complaint. Yeah, I'm old. I like the hard copy. I can't look on the screen. I printed out whatever, 71 pages or what it was. And I read it, and I only had to read the first line. And when I saw that the first line said that they were claiming that XRP was sold as an unregistered security from 2013 to present, then I started thinking, okay, well, they got to distinguish, like, that it's just Ripple, right? That's what I started going through the pages, and then I realized no, and I knew what was going to happen. Right now, I knew that the exchanges were going to start delisting, And I knew that I actually was surprised that Uphold and there's a couple others that did not halt. I was under the assumption they're all going to, because, you know, general counsel for these businesses, they're really going to be conservative, and they're going to say, hey, the safe thing to do is to halt or stop, because if they're successful, the SEC will turn around and blame us for selling it. And they put us on notice once they filed the lawsuit. So the safe thing to do is halt. So I literally, that night after my daughter went to bed on Christmas Eve, I popped out the laptop and I started thinking about a lawsuit, but then I realized you can't sue the SEC, you got to give them time. So I thought about the writ of mandamus and said, you know what? I don't believe that an SEC attorney can stand up in court in good faith and say that the XRP that Tony owns in his whatever exchange you use, or in my Coinbase or my Uphold account, that that's an unregistered security. They can't do it. And so therefore, I'm going to try to force their hand, and maybe they'll amend the complaint and exclude yours and mine, and do what they always normally do, which is say, on this particular day, Ripple, Brad, or Chris, when you sold XRP, it was a security, right? But not take this complete approach of all XRP is a security. Right. And so that was the really, because I knew it was going to happen. I knew that people that maybe invested too much in XRP, you know, I'm just saying, I could say that about Bitcoin, right? Or I could say that about Amazon stock. But there were going to be people who had life savings that would be tied to this, and they were going to be screwed, to put it in, you know, layman's terms. And so I thought that the SEC was failing in their mission, and so that was really how it started. I didn't know it would get to this point. I didn't know that I'd be emailed by 11,000 people probably when I check tomorrow morning, right? Right. I didn't know that, you know, my Twitter would go from, you know, 100 to 30,000 or whatever it is. And it was just more of that. And so it's sort of breathed a life. And unfortunately, the SEC has not come to the table to do the right thing. And if you look at their recent letter, objecting to us, me and you, trying to protect our interests, it's tragically sad, to be honest. So we're going to fight until we can't fight anymore. That's all I can say.
Sure. And that letter, you know, kind of rejecting the XRP holders plea here or argument here, what would be the next course of action? Is it an appeal or something different?
Well, what's happened here is the this Judge Torres, she has these local rules, and that's why it was denied at first. I read the rules, but I thought that there was an exception that applied, that I could just do the formal motion, and she disagreed, and she said, no, I'm going to deny that. You need to do it pursuant to the local rules, because basically the exception that I thought applied didn't, which meant I had to write a 4-page pre-motion letter, and then we would wait and get their response, which is what I've done. And now we've got their response. Ripple saying, we don't know yet, because you got to remember, when Ripple wrote their response, they weren't privy to what the SEC said. They're both responding without knowing how the other's going to respond. So Ripple took the position of, we're not taking a position yet, other than we believe XRP holders should be allowed to do the more formal motion. And the SEC is taking the position of objecting to it and saying to the judge that she shouldn't let me. So what we're waiting for now is for the judge to either say, Deaton, you can file the formal motion, and then we'll argue it and have it heard, or she's going to deny it. And, you know, I'm hoping that since one of the existing parties is saying, at least let's hear what they have to say. And there's enough ambiguity by the SEC that it's a valid claim. And I'm hopeful, because even Judge Netburn, you know, it became big on Twitter, as you know, but when Judge Netburn even said the same thing that we've been saying, the same thing that I said on December 24th when I read the complaint. Are you saying that the XRP purchased on exchanges with people who may not even ever heard of Ripple is an unregistered security? And then, of course, the attorney for the SEC did this legal dance where he tried to answer it in a way that where the judge wouldn't say that makes no sense, but still gave himself an opportunity to claim exactly what she was asking him. You know what I mean? And so we're waiting to find out. I'm really hopeful, fingers crossed, that she says, okay, Deaton, go ahead, file your motion. Then it will be a much longer motion. You know, it's like you could do a letter motion, 10 pages, anything above 10 pages, then you got to have a table of authorities and all that. But at that point, you know, it could come down tomorrow. We could get notice that says you have 7 days to file the formal motion, or sorry, we're not going to let you in. If she doesn't let us in, there's nothing I can do. You know, it's not appealable. It would just be we tried. She didn't allow it. If she lets us in, that doesn't mean that she's granted the motion. She's just willing to hear the motion.
Sure.
Right. And then at that point, I would ask for an oral argument, and then there would be a hearing, and then SEC Ripple lawyers and I would, you know, go on the record and argue our facts and our case, and then we would get a ruling.
Got it. Thank you for explaining that, because even myself, I wasn't fully aware of all the ins and outs of this. So a question along those lines: what can us as XRP holders and the folks who are listening, what can we do in the meantime? Is it like sending in any type of complaints or letters, or contacting our local legislature?
No, I mean, one thing we can always do is contact our local congressman. There's nothing, no one should contact the court, that's for sure, right? Because I know there was one email that may have got to the judge and, you know, find XRP holder, but I don't want that. Sure. XRP holders shouldn't, you know, do any more videos like where they replay the videos on Twitter or anything like that, because Sarah Netburn, the judge, the magistrate, put in her order that she wasn't happy that there was this released recording of the court's hearing, right? So because right now the SEC is trying to make this claim that if she allows us in, it's going to become this unwieldy, you know, they call it avalanche of litigation, which is all nonsense. And I could talk about the particulars if you want. I don't know how much you want to get in the weeds of it, but right now is, but certainly contacting the congressman, because obviously congressional action is what it would take. You know, we have pending legislation that is trying to be presented again in the House. And I know you've covered some of that before, discussed it. And so obviously those things I encourage. And then if they use, XRP community has been great. You know, when I sent out that tweet that said, hey, how are you guys using XRP? Right? I've got all kinds of responses, and I included them in our papers. If you look at our motion, I have 3 pages in the formal motion, 3 pages of just different uses of XRP that is 100% independent of Ripple. Most of them, Ripple wouldn't even know we're using it that way.
Sure. Yeah. And what's interesting, there was a comment in one of the hearings where the SEC lawyer said only Ripple can sell XRP illegally. Right. But us as XRP holders are okay. Same thing with exchanges, and I'm assuming market makers. You know, what are your thoughts on that? And was that kind of the bit of the dance around?
that was the dance around. He completely misled the court because, and Ripple discusses that in their answer to the letter I filed, where the attorney, just so you know, the judge basically said, quote, presumably under this theory, then every individual in the world who is selling XRP would be committing a Section 5 violation based on what you said. Now, that was what she said to the attorney. And the SEC attorney says, and broadly speaking, the Section 4 exemptions, I'm speaking very generally here. If these are transactions by people in the market, they are exempted by statute. And he cites Section 4. But Tony, Section 4 only applies to securities. You see the dance that he did? XRP would have to be deemed a security. And then if it's being used by people in the market, they are exempted. But that means you have to have a security broker's license. Right. And so Ripple's attorney actually came back, and a lot of people just missed this, right? They came back. Solomon said, so in theory, Judge, each domestic sale could be a violation. And that would include, contrary to what Mr. Tenrero said, not just Ripple, not just Ripple's affiliates, but any retail holder. So that's why I didn't want to rain on the parade. But I knew that the exchanges were not going to, I'm not saying they shouldn't. I just knew that they wouldn't. Right. You know, I agree with Jeremy Hogan that they should. There's enough information out there for them. But I just knew that if they already made the decision to delist or suspend, it's going to need something more, right? And that's what we're trying to do. And in the motion to intervene, what I'm wanting to do and accomplish is, if the judge allows us to participate, then I'm going to seek a declaratory judgment. It's basically where the judge rules as a matter of law that today's XRP that has been purchased independent of Ripple or its affiliates or executives cannot be a security. Mm-hmm. And that kind of decision or ruling, that's the ultimate goal. Or have the SEC come out and say, we are not alleging that XRP per se is a security. And you actually had Hester on, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, and great job, by the way. And so take what she said. Remember, and I watched that just recently so I could prepare to answer your questions, Tony. She said that, well, at the SEC, we're trying to get away from viewing the token as a security, right? Right. And but she also said that sometimes she thinks she's having dialogue with herself, right? Yeah. All right. And she always goes on to say, hey, I'm not speaking for anyone else but me. So what that means is that the SEC is treating XRP per se, the token itself, as a security. And that's absurd because Howie didn't say that the oranges were securities, right? Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing, Tony, for everybody to understand. You can sell anything, can become a security. Right, anything, yeah. Bitcoin could be used as a security. There's no doubt about it. In a very limited scenario, any instrument of value could be deemed a security. So, but the issue is XRP today that's not purchased by Ripple or anyone else from Ripple that I buy or you buy on any exchange, that itself is not a security. And that needs to be clarified. And the SEC still won't do that because they want the option, right? They don't want to give up anything in this litigation. And that's shameful. And I'll tell you why it's shameful. I've been a federal prosecutor, all right? And when you make the decision to prosecute, you know, if someone gets into a fist fight, right? Well, they could be charged with attempted murder. That's silly, right? But you charge them because you want them to plead guilty because they're looking at 25 to life, right? And so they, even though it might be self-defense, they plead guilty to a lesser offense. Right now, I think the SEC attorneys are so consumed with trying to win the case that they're losing sight of their mission. And a prosecutor is supposed to seek justice, and justice demands that they clarify that what Tony owns is not a security. What John owns is not a security. You know, Ripple may very well have sold a security in 2015.
Right.
Go at it. Right. I'll go away. I'll go back to practicing the law that I'm behind right now. And to be honest with you, I'll go away and we'll all go away. But until you do that, you know, we're going to come back fighting at you because that's the right thing to do.
Sure. And in your mind, you know, look, there's some weird things happening here with the SEC. Clearly, all the commissioners don't agree. Case in point, Hester. Jay Clayton did this very, it just so shady. His last week on his way out, him and his cronies are gone. What do you see the outcome being, given that Gary Gensler is coming in? Could he throw this out? Could he issue a fast settlement and say, hey, we made a mistake. Ripple's going to pay their fine for 2013 to 2015, right, and let's move forward.
Yeah, I think the chances of Gary Gensler coming in and just dismissing the case are very slim. I mean, Gary wouldn't be in this position if he wasn't a politician to a certain extent.
Sure.
He knows that the SEC as an institution has to save face, right?
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that he can't come in and say, listen, this needs to get wrapped up. We're facing, you know, right now, the SEC just objected to the very people that they're supposed to protect. Right. Like, what's the harm, right? What's the harm of us being heard? You allegedly brought this lawsuit to protect XRP holders because we are being taken advantage of by Ripple. That's your claim. Right. Well, let us in and let us speak for ourselves, right? And so they are taking that position. So he's coming into what I've been calling the most significant securities enforcement action since Howey. That's what I've been calling it. He's facing a class action. Whether it gets dismissed down the road or not, we'll see. But he's facing that. Hopefully he comes in and he sees the writing on the wall and they come to terms with something. Do I eventually see some type of settlement? That's usually the case, but you know, you never know, because I've seen the video of Gary Gensler saying that he thinks XRP was a security. Granted, that was in 2018.
Right.
A lot has changed, and that the courts will decide. I've seen that video, and so you know, who knows? But if I had to predict, I would say there would be a settlement, but I don't think there'll be a settlement, you know, in the next month or two. I think it would be more toward the summer. Now, it could happen fast if the judge allows the discovery of all their internal deliberations on Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP. If all of that information has to be turned over to Ripple, that could push for a settlement because they don't want to disclose that. Right. You know, there's things in there, and you know, I've been attacked by some, or at least criticized, because of you know, my attacks on Clayton, if you will. But understand this, Tony, it still hasn't been explained today. Why do you file on the way out the door when there's a new guy coming 30 days away? You've been warned by a fellow Republican, you know, chief of the SEC, Grunfest, that you're going to cause the greatest harm to investors in a non-fraud case in history. Right. Right? Like, why do it and then walk out the door? There's still no logical explanation. You know, if I'm the SEC guy, I'm like, not on my watch. I mean, I'm not going to do that. and then just walk out the door. I'll leave it for the next guy to decide on his watch, right? And they still haven't explained it. So until there's a logical explanation as to why it was filed, the way it was filed, when it was filed, I'm going to keep trying to expose the ulterior motives. And I believe that it was done for bad motive. There's no doubt about it. I mean, why does Hinman, who is in charge of corporation and finance, non-enforcement division, why does he, about a year after he gets to the SEC, why does he give a speech where he declares Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities?
Mm-hmm.
And then Clayton reaffirms that. And then they refuse for 3 years thereafter to make comment on XRP or anything else. And they literally say, we don't make comments on specific products after they made comments on specific products. And then when you do the digging and you see, whoa, your firm is connected, the Bitcoin mining, wow, the Ethereum Alliance, wow, right? So
yep.
Prove me wrong. That's what I keep saying. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, it just, man, where there's smoke, there's fire, and this just looks really bad because we have all the information at hand. We see all the connections and everything, and not to say any type of conspiracy theories or whatever, but it's pretty clear there is a motive there, self-interest, and I don't know what's going to come out eventually. Some folks know Jay Clayton's strong Wall Street ties, and we don't know if that's a push from the traditional financial world of trying to stop crypto in any way or whatever it may be. But
listen, here's what's crazy. One thing I will show you, and I tweeted about it or go over it with you. I tweeted about it earlier, man, which is the SEC literally said in their response that the movements, that's me and you, right? That's us XRP holders. The movement's ultimate goal in seeking to intervene is for XRP to become tradable again on digital asset platforms. And that proves that the defendants, Ripple, sold an investment contract because of this speculation of XRP holders. Well, you just classified every cryptocurrency, every commodity in the world, right? Like, are you telling me there's no Bitcoin holders who are just sitting back speculating that the price is going to go up?
Right.
I'm one of them. I don't think Bitcoin is going to be a payments currency, right? I'm buying it I bought it, a long time ago because I thought the price is going to go up.
Right.
All right. But that's what I'm saying is that their attack is so generic that it applies to everything. What you said earlier, where you said that you have no doubt that they're going down the line, right? This proves it. This kind of words, this is black and white. This isn't me speculating. This isn't you speculating. This is their words. You know what I mean? Their words. In the transcript, the SEC attorney said to the judge, we dispute whether XRP has any utility today. So if someone's out there collecting interest on their XRP, they're staking it or whatever, he's dismissing that. If you're using XRP on an uphold card, he's disputing that. You know what I mean? And so as of right now, the SEC is saying that XRP itself is a security. And if XRP is a security, then XLM's a security, then Cardano's a security, Algo's a security. They're all, including Ethereum, they're all securities. So,
wow. It's such a mess and frustrating at the same time. And I hope, to your point, we were talking about Congress and, things like the Token Taxonomy Act and these things that are getting introduced that can maybe, if the SEC itself can't figure it out, the Congress with their push for a new law and adjustment to the existing law, whatever it may be, will help bring clarity for this entire market.
I mean, well, your guest with Hester, you know, you have a SEC commissioner, you know, basically saying, when you asked her, you asked that good question where you said, are we going to see clarity this year? I think you said something like that, Tony, right? And her answer was, you know, I hope, but if you really listen to her and watch her demeanor, she's not convinced, right? And so the United States, I don't know why, you know, it has decided to sort of sit this one out. We didn't sit it out when the internet, and look at the great innovation that took place. Yep. And, you know, the cryptocurrency digital assets, basically the digitalization of everything basically is what we're going at, right? That it's been described as the fourth industrial revolution. But, you know, when you had the UK coming out and saying, hey, this is a security token, this is an exchange token, this is a utility token, and providing guidance in Switzerland and Japan and everywhere else in the world. But the United States, you know, we're sitting here wondering when one of the commissioners out of 5 is on your channel, and you're saying, is this going to be it? You know, we've been waiting for 5 years, 8 years. Is it going to be this year, Hester? And she gives you you know, I'm not criticizing her. She gives you her honest answer, which is, gee, I hope. You know, that's not encouraging.
Yeah. And even on Bitcoin, at Bitcoin ETF, I mean, you see Canada, they're getting there, Brazil, and it's like the United States, it still hasn't gotten one yet.
Yeah, I know. You know, and I don't know if you saw my the tweet about when you look at the recent Scaramucci's Skybridge Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah.
And you look and you see which law firm is pushing it. It's Hinman's. And what do they say? They literally say in the application that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies similar have been deemed not a security by senior leadership. So senior leadership is their partner in the next room, you know, down the hallway. And so, you know, when you see things like that, it just makes you think that, you know, the United States can't get out of its way. And I serve my country. I love this country. Right. You know what I mean? But we have lost our way.
Yeah. You know, my hope is that this can get fixed, resolved somehow this year. A bill like the Token Taxonomy I can get through, and we get enough congressmen and congresswomen to just get behind this, and we make a push. Right. Hopefully.
Well, and that's the thing. I wish, but we're going to have to come together. You know, the exchanges, you know, the JPs and the Jesse Powells, even though they're competitors, you know, they need to like join in some kind of organization where we can lobby and educate these congressmen, right? And to be honest with you, it's the truth. I've seen it. Trust me, I've seen it with a lot of legislation and bills involving what I do, asbestos and all that. You know, you got to be able to get to the congressmen, and how do you get their attention? You get their attention by saying, hey, you know, we're going to do a fundraiser for you, but we need you to look at and get behind this bill and educate them. And that kind of effort needs to happen, because until it does, I think that these bills will languish, and they will languish in committees and die in committee. And as you and I know, you know, 4 years from now, this space isn't going to look the way it looks right now.
Right. I want to get your thoughts, you know, with the SEC pulling in Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse and their respective sales of XRP. Why do you think they did that? Was it to just get as much ammo to put pressure?
Well, that's one good reason, or bad reason. You know, I threw one theory out there, which is the kitchen sink theory, right? As a prosecutor, you overcharge and you make it as the punishment and the as severe as possible, sort of to make them submit and give in, right? So the guy I told you earlier that gets charged in a fist fight, but he gets charged with attempted murder, right? Well, if he loses, he's facing 25 years. So he doesn't want to take that risk. And so he pleads guilty to, a felony assault and gets probation. It's sort of that same thing. So that's one theory that they did it. The other theory is that it could have just been personal, why between Jay Clayton and them, because they didn't charge him with fraud. So why? Why? And I personally believe that it was a mistake to charge them, because it opens the door to many more things potentially coming into evidence. Because whether or not something's a security and it was sold as a security is what's called strict liability. You don't have to know it, right? It's, I'm trying to think something out there. It's like if you're speeding, there's no defense, so to speak. You were speeding, right? You were doing 55 in a 45. And they don't have to prove that you intended to speed or you didn't. But when they charge them individually, aiding and abetting, now they have to prove that Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson actually believed that XRP was a security and that they were reckless in ignoring the fact that it was, or when they were selling. And that's a higher burden for them. And so I think it's going to prove to be a mistake. But why they did it, it's either, in my opinion, for personal reasons, sort of maybe an FU as they're walking out the door, as Jay Clayton and them were walking out the door, because Clayton received a lot of pressure from Tom Cotton, the senator, from congressmen, about this concept that they were favoring Chinese companies over American innovation. And that's one theory. And the only other theory is what you espouse, which is just like throw everything at them and try to make them submit. Because, look what the SEC is doing right now with the bank records. Mm-hmm. If Chris Larson and Brad gave them proof of every XRP sell they've ever done, why do they need all the other financial records? It's very invasive, right? And it's what I was trying to explain to people. You don't think other CEOs are watching that? You don't think the exchange CEOs are watching that? I don't want the government, coming at me like that. Right. And so that's another possibility.
The point you brought up about something personal, I could see that, because I know Jay Clayton got put in a position of answering the question by many different folks on
everywhere.
Everywhere. Is XRP a security? Now, where's your ruling? And then I know your point. Look, Ripple did their PR push, and
they did.
Yeah,
absolutely. They did. Is it ironic that Ripple spent more money on lobbying senators and congressmen in DC than anyone, than any company? Almost three times more than the next one, which was Coinbase, and yet they still got sued, right? That smacks to me of personal reasons, personally. And it's the other reason is, and I know a lot of people think I attack him. I'm not. I'm just trying to flush it out. But how is Jed McCaleb able to sell millions and millions, actually billions of XRP if XRP is a security? He's the co-founder, right? And he's allowed to do it, and the SEC is going after Brad and Chris for doing the same thing. But they're not, and someone would say, "Oh, well, it's because Jed's not with the Ripple anymore." Well, XRP today, if it's not a security, say it. But if you're claiming, like you are in this suit, that it is a security, why are you allowing the co-founder to take advantage of us XRP holders, right? It just makes no sense. So that, to me, smacks of personal reasons. Of behind it, personal motivation.
Sure. Yeah. like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And this just, this reeks of
Oh, it does.
yeah.
This is a you know, I know a lot of people have said someday there'll be a movie, a Ripple movie or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but listen, man, if you saw some of the stories that I've seen in these emails, then I think people would understand why I'll give up my sleep or whatever I do to fight this at times, right? Because, you know, maybe it's not you and me, and maybe you and I wouldn't take the $50,000 and it was our life savings and put it all in XRP, but there are people who did.
Yeah.
Right. And if XRP goes to zero because it's a bad investment or a bad technology, then that's the nature of investing.
Right.
But it shouldn't be that way because the government did what it shouldn't do. You know what I mean? And so that's the stuff. And it drives me insane, because then you would hear people say, well, you deserve to lose your money if you're that stupid and you put everything into XRP. People make mistakes. You know what I mean? Have you ever made a mistake in your life, Tony?
Oh yeah, many.
Right. I've made many financial mistakes in my life. And so, and some of them literally, there were people that, even my daughter is one of them. She heard me talking about cryptocurrency, and she took her $15,000, her life savings, all the money she got from her birthdays and Christmas, right? She had 15,000, and she heard Daddy talking about the fourth industrial revolution. And so she went out and she took half of it and she bought Bitcoin, and she took the other half, and she had never heard of Ripple, and she bought half of the rest of the half XRP and Ethereum. All she did was say, hey, I'm going to just buy the top three.
Right.
Never heard of Ripple. Right. And now she can't trade her XRP on Coinbase because it's halted, all because of the government. And, you know, my daughter isn't the most sympathetic, you know, because she's doing okay in life and all that. But there are some people who put that 15,000 was everything they had.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now it's not. And it's just sitting there because the government won't come out and do the right thing and simply say, we're only going to go after these executives for what they did. We're not going to go after the digital asset itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you, John. Thank you again for the work you're doing on behalf of all XRP holders, and wish you the best of luck as we continue the good fight, and hopefully the judge is sympathetic. And
I hope. I hope. I'm optimistic, but you never know. You know what I mean? I just hope I get to answer the nonsense that the SEC wrote in their letter, because it's so easy to pick apart. It would be awful for me professionally if I don't get to respond. You know what I mean? Because the things they said in here are absurd, literally absurd. They literally said the most absurd stuff I've ever heard of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, John, I'm going to be interviewing Brad, Ripple CEO, in next month. So hopefully we can get some additional clarity there and get his perspective as well.
Yeah. And well, he's taking it on the chin a little bit. And I think I tried to point out to people that, I don't know how much XRP Brad has, but if you have 500 million of something and you sell 10 million of it, you're still very long, right? That doesn't mean that, you're not very long. It's like I try to say to people, Jeff Bezos sells $1 billion a year of his Amazon stock. That doesn't mean he's not long Amazon.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I know folks don't like to think of this, but Vitalik has sold Ethereum and whoever else. I'm sure Charles Hoskinson has sold some Cardano.
Right.
Right. It's like,
right.
It's just a non-starter.
Listen, I mean, maybe Satoshi's dead, but I mean, who's going to begrudge him if he sold a few Bitcoins that he mined back in those days, right?
Right.
I'm just saying, like, that doesn't mean anything. But unfortunately, I know that by the SEC going after him the way they did and putting that in the complaint, it's led for a lot of the critics to sort of slam him. So
for sure.
So
well, John, I would love to have you back on in the future as things progress. And once again, thank you for the work you're doing. I want to wrap it up here with some quick rapid fire.
Okay.
Such as, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food would be Mexican or pizza.
Nice. What's your favorite musician or band?
Grew up with NWA. I'd probably say Ice Cube is probably my favorite rapper, and Tupac.
Nice. See, I wouldn't expect that.
No, I know.
That's awesome. No, but hey, I listen to a variety of music. Tupac's on my playlist. Ice Cube. I listen to rock, everything.
I do too. I actually one of those few people that go from Tupac to maybe Toby Keith, or you know, a little bit of country in there.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I just listen to everything. Favorite movie?
Rocky.
Oh, great one. Favorite book?
1984 by George Orwell. Big Brother.
Oh yeah. And finally, when you're not doing anything law related, what are you doing for fun as far as a hobby?
Pilot, small plane, private pilot.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. You know, nothing. I don't have a jet or anything like that. You know, just go and rent a like a 4-seater Cessna and, you know, fly it around, stuff like that.
Very cool, man. Well, John, pleasure chatting with you, man. And once again, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Tony. You keep it up, brother.